Don't cry out loud, keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings. Except not anymore because Mars is stationed direct. Thank frick. Hello, Scorpio. Yes, as I said, this is the first horoscope that you'll receive from me for 2023. Isn't that lovely? What a delight. I did have to skip out on the full moon in Cancer 2 weeks ago. I was a little unwell and I needed to rest and recover and heal from a bit of a snotty nose. But in that time, I did a lot of reading and a lot of planning for the year ahead. So hopefully there'll be some extra info and interaction from me as this year goes on. I don't want to limit myself to, rather, I don't want to jump on the content train and just chug things out. I don't know how there's hours in the day to do so. But from what I've been studying and from the point of education that I was at this time last year to now, I've learned quite a lot. So I think that I've got more to share with you that can further explain some of the significations of the planets and the cards too. Speaking of, I'm going to pull some intuitive tarot straight up. So I've got them to work with. And we're going to be focusing on Aquarius this time around. So on Sunday, the 22nd of January. Oh, that's lovely. On Sunday, the 22nd of January at 7:53 a.m., if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me, so it's sunrise, there's going to be a beautiful, hopeful Aquarian new moon. For you, Scorpio, Aquarius rules your 4th house, which is our root system. It's the base of our chart. It's our privacy and our home life. And so to have a new moon in this house provides us with a moment to ask for improvements or to worship at the satisfaction that we feel at home. It can bring up some difficult things, the 4th house. Our root systems vary, don't they? They're interchangeable from person to person, and not everybody, when they think of home, thinks of safety. Not everybody, when they think of home, thinks of enough. These days, the principle of our home address, especially if you rent your property and you don't own it, is really up in the air. We can feel an inflation of cost of living, and we can feel an inflation of how much we're paying over to put a roof over our head, and that can bring with it great anxiety. And so I'd like for you at this Aquarius new moon to, if those are the feelings that you're having, to really roll with them and don't disallow them, really let them run through you, and also look to this moment as a signification of hope and possibility for a reconfiguration of the root system. I've got a monstera plant in my bedroom at the moment, and it was propagated in water, so it's in this tall vase, and I've watched it flourish over these last months, and it's grown these incredible aerial roots that almost look like a beautiful mane of hair. They're these huge things that are so proud and so reliant and stable. And it's just sitting in this very portable vase that could be moved anywhere. It's soon going to be growing out of that vase, so I've got to get busy and figure out where to replant it. But the image of those aerial roots has really held me in great comfort over these last months. I'm in transit at present. I'm finding my own root system. And so when I look at the aerial roots, I recognize something that is self-contained and safe and flourishing that's also portable. So I don't know if any of that imagery is helpful to you, Scorpio, but it was just something that was really important for me to bring up when we talk about the 4th house and the possibilities of what we might want to achieve in that space. Now, Aquarius the sign signifies a clearing. Aquarius is the great air sign of advancement. If we think about air as our thoughts, our mind, our intellect, Aquarius is fixed air, so it goes the distance. I said in another reading that I get this image of like a compressed air canister when I think of Aquarius. Short, sharp, direct, affirmative action. And so in the tarot, the major secret for Aquarius is the star. The star has nothing to hide. The star is an extraterrestrial sent to planet Earth to move the water of life and love for thirsty humanity. It's a really beautiful sentiment and one of great grace and calm. So on that, I wonder what kind of communal aspects are related to your sense of home. Is that something that you'd like to engage in or work on or further to that principle? Do you consider your home to be a communal space? Do you wish for it to be so? In that way of our own sense of privacy and our own sense of comfort, is there something that you're wishing or willing or hoping to extend to other folks? And in that way of a monstera plant, is there, I can see them lined up together. It's great to come into community when feeling like an outsider. It's really a great, wonderful, valuable principle to hold on to realize that you're not going it alone, that there are others in your circumstance and there are others with tactics and with strategies enough to navigate some of the trickier parts of an unstable root system. Now, if you're in the very fortunate position of home ownership and your home is somewhere that is your private castle, then that's really beautiful. That's a wonderful thing, and I'm very, very glad for you. I wonder if there's an Aquarian element to that too, some sort of caretaker of a space. I see that there's also Venus and Saturn in Aquarius at this lunation as well. They're on the end of the sign, so they're not so much in a conjunction with this moon, but they are still present. They're in a conjunction with one another. Venus, the planet of love and pleasure and beauty and ecstasy, is conjoined with Saturn, the taskmaster. Isn't that funny? I've said it in all the other readings, but it's like a massage. I can feel there's a gentle quality to this combination. There's a an easing of restriction here. So I wonder at this full moon, it might even just be a nice thing for you to unfold at home, wherever home is right now, whatever that looks like for you. Take a moment to unfurl and to feel the welcome of the space that you're in. Feel the sanctity of that privacy. Feel the beauty of the nest. Now, we can look at a couple of different signs because Mars is stationed direct on the 13th and Mercury is stationed direct on the 19th. So a few days before this lunation. So think about those two principles. Mars is passionate direction, drive, ambition, and Mercury is intellect, intel, the way we translate information. The start of this year, at the beginning of 2023, those planets were both in their retrograde motion. So there was almost like a sort of like, Happy New Year. Oh gosh. Oh, where do we start? Should we start again? Is this the new year? For a lot of people, it's interesting to be swapping stories and hear the fizzer, maybe, of what the new year brought with it. Some people had a gorgeous time. Some people enjoyed the fireworks. Some people came together and really experienced the hope of the fresh year. I think probably it's good to maybe step away from the language of like, I don't know, sayonara 2022, you are fucked. Welcome 2023, everything's going to be different. That sets us up for a pretty quick failure. So do New Year's resolutions, so do quick fixes and quick judgments on the way that we've been doing things so far. It's too much pressure. I've used the analogy of buying a fresh brand new diary to start the next year and not filling any of it in until February or March. And that's quite normal and that's quite human to do that. So if that's happened for you, that's all right. Mercury is your third house. Capricorn's your third house, where we communicate, where we find language. And so to have Mercury in there gives me a sense that there's an easing of the tension. The words weren't coming to you, and now perhaps they are. So that's a really nice thing to remember. Also, Mars is your 8th house, which you know all too well, Scorpio. The 8th is the 8th is a sticky spot, isn't it? But you're primed for it. The 8th is the house of the soul contract and the journey down to release and let go and to come up again. The head breaching the water. For you, this is Aries. Makes sense. Sorry, this is Gemini. Makes sense because that's how you talk about it. I think Gemini talks. Scorpio can talk about the 8th house without fear. So I wonder if there's qualities to that part of your life that there's a bit of a loosening of the language that's able to come out. I hope so. It's interesting to see how the 8th and the 4th can sometimes be connected too. As something that's sort of like ancestral line. There's something about saying goodbye and feeling responsible to carry on the line too, isn't there? Very interesting language in this day and age. But let's look at this intuitive tarot, Scorpio, because there's a lot of hope here. In the center, we've got the Ace of Pentacles. That's a seed. The Ace of Wands is a match. This is really a nice coupling to have at the first lunation of the year, as we think about gently about your 4th house, about your home, your root system, your relationship to ancestry. There's also the Page of Pentacles, which I would look at as some individual of someone in your environment that maybe can offer some support in planting that seed. There's a collaboration that I can feel here with someone who is willing and has patience enough to go the distance to start something off and to see it through, just to watch how it grows, to watch where those monstera roots might curl around next. There's magic involved in this as much as it is practical. There's also a great deal of magic. The Ace of Wands is not one to look over. This is a direct offer from Spirit Land. So how do we incorporate magic into our home space? How do we incorporate magic into the work that is needed to get this seed to grow? This is an offer to a beautiful, beautiful garden, but you've got to do the work. You've got to plant it. There's been a lot of movement in your 1st and your 7th houses, Scorpio, and we mustn't deny the impact perhaps of those eclipses that we experienced in 2022, and perhaps the ground that was tilled with some of that shedding, some of that movement. So on that principle, with that in mind, it's really nice to see these offers of potential, these seeds, this match to start something fresh. If this is what you're experiencing, having to relocate, having to start again, having to set it up, then this is the perfect time to do it. This new moon will help you out. This new moon has got some lovely, gentle support in there for you. There's a lot of the way that I have rediscovered my sense of faith, also my sense of hope, is through looking at the possibilities of the astrology that are presenting themselves as the years go by. I'm not a mundane astrologer, which simply means a world astrologer, looking out at the greater picture and making predictions based on times gone by. But I'm learning from folks that are. I'm learning from a great deal of people that have devoted their study to the wider aspects of astrology. Some stuffier people say that's the only astrology, but God, when you find yourself in this area, you don't start putting confines on it. You don't start saying that someone's astrology is better than the other. That's just ludicrous. We do this for a sense of hope. We do this for a sense of belonging. When things are tough, if things are really rolling around in our body, we look to the stars and we can go, okay, well, this is the configuration. I can get off my own back. This is a process. We're mid-process. And so in that way, just to cap off this reading, I am looking at the process of the planets through the next few years. And in the different people that I've been listening to and learning from, and the different books that I've read, there's a point that is happening in our lifetime, not only in our lifetime, over the next couple of years, that will potentially bring with it such pivotal, powerful, beautiful change that will affect the way that we are the star, that will affect our humanitarian principle, how we relate to one another and how we relate to the earth, how we support every element of the living world. And I just wanted to cap this reading off with that little sentiment, Scorpio. We'll go through it as the year goes by. I'm going to be peppering my info into these horoscopes coming up, and there's also some big changes this year that are a prelude into what's to come. So on that, think big, think clearly, think safety, and think the nest at this new moon. How do you wish to feather that nest of yours? However portable that nest may be at this time. And yes, I'll be with you in 2 weeks for the full moon in Leo. You can get your birth chart read at umaruby.com. And if you'd like to throw some money in the tip jar, you can do that at buymeacoffee.com/umaruby. I'm near the end of these readings, can you tell? I love you very much, Scorpio, and I'll speak to you in 2 weeks. It's great to be back, and I can't wait. Bye.